Hello. So this will be Traveller Tales number 3. I'll just put you up there. Traveller Tales number 3. This is going to be a quickish video, hopefully, and it's going to just cover the obvious things, really. The most asked questions that I get. So the most asked questions that I've ever got, really, is where to find water. For me, because they never right for me, it's churchyards, graveyards. Most graveyards have a tap, an outside tap, or several. I'm just going to get out of the way of the sun. There we go, better. Most graveyards have an outside tap. Graveyards don't pay, churches don't pay water tax, water bills, water rates, so you're not stealing. For many, many generations, travellers, horse-drawn travellers and what have you, have stopped there and given the horse water, and they've collected water for themselves. So it's theft if you want to think of it as being theft. It's not theft if you don't want to think of it as being theft. I just don't think about it at all, you know. The water has to be fresh and clean, and it must be drinkable quality, because of the tap stand is suitable for a child, you know, the same height as a child to be turning it on. And obviously we live in a world, don't we, where you can't do things like that. You can't put any, I mean, why would they anyway at a graveyard? Why would they put any additives into it? The other way is garages, and what I do, a little tip for you I suppose, when I was driving Ishi, I would go into the garage forecourt up to the till, and I'd say just before I fill up, so I would always do that, because straight away they look at you and they look at the motorhome, you're going to put some money in. So I'd say just before I fill up, I'm in the motorhome, have you got an outside tap please? Now the reason why I say it like that is because if you fill up, you put 50, 60, 70 quid in, then you say, have you got an outside tap? They can just say no, because they've got 60, 70 quid off you, you know. So I've done that time and time again. You'd be surprised. Some of them say, oh, not normally, but here's a key, there's an outside locker and the tap's just there, help yourself. You know, you'd be surprised how many do that. Failing that, you can go to like the windscreen wash thing and fill up there. It's very, very slow, very laborious. Some people say it's got additives in it. I don't believe that, but because the pipes are not cleaned, it's not of food grade, so it's not really ideal to do that. But of course, if you're filling up just to have a wash, or you're going to boil the water for a Slurpee or whatever, then that's absolutely fine as well. Now, a lot of places like parks and gardens in towns and cities, they have various taps, obviously, to water the flowers. Ask a council worker, they'll always direct you, no problem. Some hotels, even warehouses and things like that. Anywhere where you see some flowers, there's likely to be a standpipe or a tap somewhere. A bit naughty, but you can buy a key off of eBay and go and use the canal facilities. So you can top up with water, you can even have a shower and use their toilet and things like that. It's a bit naughty, but you know, some people do it. Farmers often will let you just top up, there's no problem with that. And there seems to be water in abundance everywhere, really, you know. Another little tip and a little trick for you is if you go into a public toilet and the sink is very low, so the tap is literally inside of the sink, or virtually inside of the sink, get a dustpan and brush, turn it over, slide the flat bit, the dust pan, then slide that in, turn the tap on, and the water will fill that up and it will drip out of the handle, because the handle is always hollow, and just make sure your container is directly under there and you can fill up your container, no problem. Camping and caravan clubs are very good, and so is any sort of site really. If you just pull in, just say, is there any chance I could have some water please? Most of them will say yeah. Not all, but most of them will say yeah. But for me, mostly it's graveyards and things like that. There are many, many other places, and a lot of the information is now available on the internet. How do you find park ups? Well, if you go to, say, Facebook or whatever, COP, it's Camper Van Overnight Parking. There's also motorhome sleepy spots, and there's also a million ones on Facebook. Join them all. Most of them have interactive maps, and you can find somewhere to park up. I never really used them. I used to just go on Google Maps, find somewhere I liked, and I was always found somewhere. I've never ever struggled to find a park up in my life. Where do you empty your toilet? I nearly said empty. Well, I did. Where do you empty your toilet? In a public toilet, mostly, you know. And if you're embarrassed about it, buy a hold-all. I've got a large sports bag. It says Sports Direct. It's black with white writing on. I went into Sports Direct, bought some cheap clothing, bought a pound bag, you know, it's a huge thing. And your toilet cassette fits in there. It's got a couple of handles on, but also it's got a thing, if you elongate it, you can just lob it over your shoulder. So it's just like a bit of a hold-all. And you walk into a public toilet with your cassette in the bag so nobody knows it's in there if you're embarrassed or whatever. Empty, as long as you're clean and you're tidy after, then I don't see that's a problem really. If it's just a couple of wheeze, then basically you could put it anywhere, couldn't you really, down a drain or whatever. You know, if you think of all the cows or horses or dogs or animals or whatever, you know, that wee on the ground, it's no different, not really. What else can I tell you really? We've covered cheap sites, haven't we? You have to look back. I think that was Traveller Tales 2 that we talked about sites. But I get asked the same questions over and over again really, you know. The grey water, like from washing up water or a quick shower or whatever, just let it go as far as I'm concerned, you know. Particularly if you're in a car park area or you're on gravel or grass or something like that, just let it go. It's not going to harm anything. As long as you don't put poisons, you know, horrible things down your drains, but then you're unlikely to do that anyway unless you're a fool. So I don't see that that's a problem. I don't see that getting rid of any waste is a problem. Your rubbish, your litter and what have you, I used to just have a carrier bag and I would half fill or maybe even completely fill a carrier bag over a number of days, just pop that into any waste bin, you know, any litter bin in a park or a bus stop or by the side of the road or whatever. Again, millions of them and no great problem really. So I think that's the obvious things really, you know, and there are many. Now if your vehicle, if your van was to break down or whatever, a lot of garages, and just be honest with them, phone them up and say, look, you know, my clutch is gone or whatever. And what you'll do is say to them, I am full-time. I'm full-time, I've got nowhere else to go. And they will say, a lot of them will say, well, there's a compound around the back, or you can park out the front, or whatever, you know. So you stay in your vehicle while it's being repaired, basically, you know. You might not be in the vehicle while it's actually in the workshop, but overnight, or for a couple of nights, you can stay there. And again, be honest, and just say, you haven't got any water, have you, you know. And people will give you water. So again, I don't see that that's a problem. We make these problems sound like they're a huge, huge concern, and actually they're not. If you just speak to people, I think most people are fine, you know. I found that anyway, really. Be polite, friendly, courteous, you know. So that's kind of covered that. What else can we say? Some of the best park-ups I've had are actually outside of graveyards, to be honest. I like them, I like the peace that they give you. I think they're pretty, with the flowers and the manicured sort of lands. You don't get any boy races or any silliness up there at night. There's often a bin, there's a tap for your water, etc, etc, you know. I find that the police tend to leave you alone, especially if you're in a motorhome, because, you know, essentially you're a holiday maker, just tired and you wanted somewhere to park for the night. You found this little graveyard with a little outside space and you're using it. You know, you'll be gone first thing in the morning, and that's an important thing, isn't it, is to arrive late, leave early, and leave nothing at all, you know. Even better than that, pick up some rubbish, you know. I've done that so many times. You often pull in somewhere and there'll be a couple of cans of beer or Coca-Cola or crisps or whatever. Pick it up. Otherwise people do assume that it comes from you, and obviously that's your home for the night or the week or however long you decide to spend there. Pick it up, tidy up after yourselves, and people may see that, which is a good thing. If they don't, that's still a good thing. You know, because you're doing some good for the environment as far as I'm concerned. Who wants a messy environment? Nobody. What else can I cover really? There's water, your waste, your toilet, litter, park-ups are easily covered, park-ups, you know, don't worry about it. If you're struggling for a park up, if you are, I mean you won't, but you know, some supermarkets, if you go into Tesco's for instance, just choose Tesco's, and just ask to speak to the manager, go to customer services normally. If there are no customer services, go to the cigarette counter and just say, could I speak to the manager please? And there's no problem that you can always speak to the manager and just say, hi, I'm in a motorhome, I'm travelling at the moment on holiday. I've got nowhere to stay tonight, however I want to do a big shop in the morning and I'm really tired. Is it okay to use your car park? And 9 times out of 10 they will say, yeah, no problem. And often they will direct you and they'll say, if you want a quiet place, yeah, go here, go there, blah blah blah, and you'll be totally left alone. Make sure you've got your vehicle reg with you because you may ask for that. So if you was to get a ticket, it's just a quick phone call and they cancel it. But normally really these places are not enforced. And talking about being enforced, if you ever get a parking ticket from something like Parking Eye or whatever, just ignore it, throw it away. That's my advice. Yeah, people are going to be jumping up and down saying, oh Brian, you mustn't say that. Well, I've just said it, yeah, because I've got 9, I've ignored them all and they've all faded away. That's what happens, you know. They are a private company, they're a third-party interloper, they're trying their luck. And it is a notice. They've just noticed your video. It's not a parking fine. It's not a PCN. A PCN is a different thing. A penalty charge notice from a council, the police, the traffic wardens, that's a different thing altogether. But when it's a private company, just trying it on, no thank you. If you contract with them in any way, and that is if you phone them and try and appeal, if you write to them, if you go to their office or whatever, that forms a contract between you and them. You are then liable really, because you're saying, yes, okay, I've broken one of your terrible rules and please forgive me, is £100. Up to you if you want to do that really. I'm not sure what else to cover really. It's all, things become obvious. The more you travel, things become obvious. A couple of little bits of advice really. If you ever pull in anywhere and it doesn't feel right, move on. You don't have to stay there. There's no law saying you must stay there. So you pull into whatever, a lay-by. I don't like lay-bys. People piss in lay-bys. You know, I've parked in 2 lay-bys in 4 years. But if you pull in somewhere and you just feel a bit uneasy or whatever, just drive down the road, find somewhere else and you'll find somewhere better. So a good bit of advice there. Another bit of advice if you are starting out, take what you need, not what you want. You'll be surprised, you're going to be low on space really. So what do you need? Well, you need a kettle, you need your cooking stuff, you need a few changes of clothes and a wash bag and a couple of bits and bobs, you know. Take what you need, not what you want. What you want is a pile of books and CDs and things like that. Be very, very careful, very frugal, you know, on money. You know, don't spend too much on things that you think you may want because you probably don't want them. Take what you need. So yeah, if a park-up doesn't feel right, move on. Be careful about the amount of stuff that you're carrying, and also think about your vehicle could be overweight if you end up taking a load of stuff. Particularly like me, my living is my art, so I can have 400 pots of paint, you know, and 25 canvases or whatever. Things are heavy. And the last little bit of advice, just to finish the video, is seek out other full-timers, and you can do that on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Or if you pull into an area, a lay-by, particularly if you see a smokestack or the vehicle looks like it might be lived in, give them a gentle knock. If they don't want you there, they'll say I'm busy or I'm cooking or I don't want to see anybody today, whatever. But most people will be up for a bit of a chat, so there's always company out there on the road, and you can learn a lot about the park-ups in the area, about where they're getting their water, how long they've been in the area, has there ever been any trouble with kids, you know, boy racers, or the police, or the locals, the neighbours, whatever. How far is the nearest shop? Is it okay to leave the vehicle here locked up and go for a walk for 8 hours of the day? You can find out a lot of information from the local sort of travelling people, and there's lots of them about, as we all know. And that's invaluable advice really. Don't be shy, go and give them a knock. If they don't want you there, they will be quite honest and tell you, you know. Okay, Traveller Tales 3. I'll think of something else for the next one. Take care and be well. And enjoy the sunshine. It's glorious today.